I'd like to start everything off with my father is a space racist. He's a just avid activist, strong feminist, and space racist. He will defend your rights on Facebook unless, of course, you happen to be a Thorian, Mon Calamari, or the other myriad races in
They
Star
called
Wars.
him Hammerhead in episode 4.
That's alright. So I'm out. For those of you not familiar out there, this is a popular alien in Star Wars. They look like what they said, a hammerhead. They have like a little thing. But in the Star Wars universe, they're called Authorians. To refer to a Thorian as a hammerhead is kind of equivalent to like white dude walking up to the black guy and be like, "Hey boy," and you're just like, "Hey yo, chill." So we're in the movie theater, and he was like, "I didn't even see that hammerhead the first time," and I just kind of cringed. Like, I guess that's the sign of a true nerd. I really was just like, "Yo, don't." I was looking around as if, there was one in the room, perhaps nearby,
It's a fictional character.
who might have heard. I'm just saying, bro. Like, that's it's a little inappropriate. Like, I wouldn't. It's just messed up. Like, he probably calls mine calamari squid heads, bro.
Anyway, this is Bboy Cabi.
Spelled with a C, not an S, but there you go. This is Dan Transomi,
Yes, it is.
brother Omi.
And we're here today to discuss a review on Star Wars: The Force Awakens on All Things Geekery. Check it out. Again, welcome to All Things Geekery, and we're doing a review of Star Wars Force Awakens. Just to let you guys know, this was his idea. So if I only get like 2 views, you can blame it on him. If I get 2 million views, blame it on me. So the first thing we're gonna do is just to let you guys know that me and Bboy Cabi, he is my oldest son. We watched Star Wars: The Force Awakens 3 times.
We watched it the first 2 times separately and have been discussing the film as nerds are often, want to do. And then I was like, "Yo, we should review it. We should review it together." And then he was like, I was surprised him came in town, and then he was like, I was gonna see it Tuesday, and I was like, "Oh, we should totally see it together." So this is Tuesday, and we watched it together, and now, we literally just walked in the house from seeing episode 7.
So it's our 3rd time watching it. I highly recommend it in 3D if you get a chance. So I know a lot of movies come out and they do them in 3D and they're not worth it, but this one is actually worth it.
I've never seen a 3D film ever, so I can't say that's.
So
I mean, it was dope. It was dope regardless, and I can't imagine it being worse in 3D. So if you're a person who does 3D films, like definitely, like Star Wars was phenomenal, and everything looks big on the big screen. So if you do 3D, I mean, it's probably dope. I can't co-sign yay or nay on it. But yeah, so Star Wars Episode 7 I'm just a little backstory on my idea of why I came up with this. One, we are both nerds, and that is just like an unassailable fact. We're just unimpeachably geeks. Like All Things Geekery, that's our discussion. Like literally, almost every discussion we've had since I was like 6 was either Star Wars or hip hop related.
Pretty much.
We watched, like the last Star Wars film we watched together was Episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, Episode 7's coming out. And it was just like, for me, and more than him, this was like the Star Wars for my generation. Like, this is the film. This is the film. This is my experience to have what they had in the 70s. I mean, different, of course, because Star Wars has been around since the 70s. But this was my chance to have that moment of just like, it's a new trilogy, new director, new actors, new everything, new multiracial cast. So I was just like, yo, it would be really, really cool. I mean, because a prevalent theme in the film is, parallels and recurring cycles, and the things that are old have become new, and the things that are new are just like the things that are just cycles and generations, basically. And I was like, it'd be really dope if I did a review. He does geekery review stuff all the time, and I was like, it'd be really dope if we just kind of did that together in a film about generations. I could have a thing with my father, on Star Wars, which is something him and I have shared forever, like almost. In fact, that's one of our biggest gripes with the film, and this isn't even the gripe section, but they threw away the EU, the expanded universe, just to mass amounts of comic books,
Yeah,
everything.
It's painful. Very
They
painful.
threw it out the window, like 40 years worth of stuff, and that's like almost. They threw away every father. Thank you, Lucas and Disney. Every father and son moment him and I had
Pretty much.
is now invalid. Like, I mean, we already looked kind of ridiculous what we debated about, and now it looks even more ridiculous in hindsight because it doesn't exist anymore. So, first things first. Spoiler alert.
No, this too late for spoilers. I mean, it's too. If you haven't seen the movie, that's your fault. You're a bastard.
Anybody
You
who's
Donald Trump.
He said anybody who's cared about this film already saw it. So,
Yeah,
if you haven't seen it, you don't care enough to be upset by spoilers.
Definitely.
But for the sake of people anyway, like I feel like I don't care if this is like 3 years old. There's that one guy out there who hasn't seen it.
Well, that's his fault. That's
Spoiler
his
alert.
fault. Yeah,
Right
I've seen
here.
it 3 times.
Disclaimer.
Right? So just a FYI, like the way we're gonna do the format is we're gonna do the good, the bad, and then what we would like to change. So we're gonna start off with the good. So what did you think was good about the film?
It came out while I was alive. I do like the fact that I got to see it at the age. Like I'm glad I had a job to see it. Like the timing of it was excellent. Like in fact, I'm glad it came out. I was able to take my mom to see Star Wars for her birthday.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
We didn't. It wasn't like we didn't see like the opening weekend, but we saw it the Monday afterwards. The day we were both off. So
Okay.
I actually got to see Star Wars. Like that first week I saw it with my mother, and that all things geekery. Like both sides of the family, we geek out. I geek out everywhere I go, and just so that was the first thing I liked. Second thing I liked was a black guy was the main character.
That's cool. That's cool. I think for me the first thing was the pacing of the film. Like J.J. Abrams just did a great job pacing the film. There's action throughout, but at the same time they're telling there's character development, and I know that's something that's very difficult to do because attention span. We're so used to getting these big giant action blockbusters. So for a lot of people in the audience, if they get a lull where they're doing character development and telling the story, sometimes it just doesn't add up. But J.J. Abrams did a good job. And also, the screenwriter was the guy that did Empire Strikes Back. His name is eluding me right now, but the pacing was great. So there's like really good, storytelling as the action is going on. So that was the first thing that came off. Second thing, the casting. Like, I know even with the original trilogy, there was always issues with acting, Mark Hamill, et cetera, et cetera. There's always been these issues with these actors that are just not doing good. And you gotta forgive Mark Hamill because that was like his first gig.
What's really funny is like Mark Hamill got the gig on like a hookup. Like he was like a bum once. Like I can't remember who, somebody else famous like tried out for the role and didn't get it.
A lot of famous people.
Like he tried out not for Luke. He tried out I think for like Darth Vader or something. He tried out for Darth Vader, didn't get it, and he had this like homeless kid, not homeless, but he's like this dude sleeping on his couch, and he was like, "Yo, they're looking for like a teenager." And I didn't get the gig, but you might want to check it out. And it happened to be Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. So I mean, just that's a cool little.
And it's all love. Like I can understand, but like what was his name? Hayden Christensen. Like he was horrible. Like they just have a problem with casting. Every now and then they'll get a good shot. Ewan McGregor did his thing, but everybody else is just like So I think this time they was able to get people that can actually act, and they all did good. So. Shout out to the casting director, whoever they found, because I think that was dope.
Also, like it's cool, like mentioning the first, the 1, 2, and 3, which technically also came out in my generation, but like I don't really count that as my Star Wars experience. Except for double-bladed lightsabers, they're dope. But really, what was cool was a lot of people complained about in the first one, everything was just kind of like the characters just kind of happened upon each other. And they just kind of said it was just always the will of the Force. A lot of people thought that was like a really dumb way to do things. Like, our planet crash landed on Tatooine. We met this dumb kid who was totally useful, and we got to stay at his house at the state. It was just a lot of coincidental stuff, and they blamed, will of the Force, which is cool. But like in the original Star Wars, it was like Luke needed a ride off ship. Han Solo was about to leave anyway, and he's a smuggler. He does that for a living. They went to the cantina where you can find people who smuggle stuff. Like, it was like, it made sense how they all met. Like, I mean, and they were just kind of, and then after they met, the series of circumstances elevated to the point where they kind of had to stay together because they, just, I'm hanging out with this guy, the Empire's after him, now he's after me, but I gotta run from Jabba anyway, so might as well hang out with the rebellion because the rich chick is gonna reward me for this. I need to pay Jabba back. Like, it all made sense.
Yeah, it made, I mean, don't get me, the screenwriting was good. I think so, but I know like with the prequels, the writing was kind of like,
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of to have a villain on the dark side struggling with being dark. Like, I mean, just like
being like still stuck with I'm still light.
yeah, like he grew up like he wasn't born evil. He was born like a regular dude into like a really positive. He was born with a Skywalker. These guys are like a bunch of Jesuses walking around. He grew up with them, and he's just like, I kind of just want to be evil, and he struggles with that. And I'm like, that was dope. Like that was really cool to me. Like we hear about it in Star Wars all the time. They're like, it's the light side being seduced.
I think there's a scene where I didn't appreciate it until the third time I watched it, where he's talking to Darth Vader's mask.
Yeah.
And he says, he literally says, I'm struggling. Show me the darkness. Show me how powerful the dark side is. So when him and Han Solo are on that bridge.
Oh, but Han Solo dies.
And then him and Han Solo on that bridge, and the Star Killer finally sucks out all the power from that star, and everything darkens.
The sun literally goes out.
And to him, that's like a sign from Darth Vader. Like, here is the power of the dark side. And that's what he needs to kill his own father. I was like, I didn't really appreciate it until the third time I watched it. And I was like,
that was my favorite.
That is crazy. Like, that is. And here we see him finally, because there's a moment where he's like, he's telling his father, like, yeah,
I can't do this. Like, I can't do this.
And then at that moment, boom. He's dark.
Yeah, that's why I like, because it's a choice. Like, you don't just become evil. Like, there's a difference between the Dark Jedi and the Sith. The Dark Jedi, okay, one, being open to the Force just means your shit is a little bit more, like, important. Like, it just means everything you do is a bit more, like, has a bit more echoes to it. So, like, when you make a bad decision, it's not just a bad decision, it has, like, far-reaching effects on your psyche. Like spiritually, like you have a tangible spirit now because you're Force sensitive. So to be a Dark Jedi just means I'm selfish. It just means like I use my powers and I'm influenced by my selfishness or my anger. That's a Dark Jedi. To be Sith means every action I do is evil. Like I get up in the morning, I meditate on being evil as possible. All the time.
And I know I'm playing the devil's advocate. I hate to use that term, but with the Sith, the Jedi see that they are tools of the Force. They themselves, like if I'm a Jedi, I am a tool of the Force. The Force works through me and does certain things. With the Sith, I don't like to use the term evil, even though they do evil shit.
He's right.
They believe that they can use the Force as a tool. The all-encompassing energy that binds everything in the universe.
They think they're above that.
They feel like they're above that, and they use that as a tool. So I try not to be the evil thing, I try to.
They're called the dark side. We're not gonna say evil. We're not gonna say evil.
Yeah,
but
I apologize.
To be a Sith is to literally decide every decision I make is to further the dark side.
Yeah.
Like to dive deeper into darkness on purpose. Like it's hard to decide to wake up for work in the morning, much less decide to be dark side all the time. So I love how he really just made, like he tangibly decided. Mm-hmm. Like he could have been like, you know what? I am struggling, and it's just as easy for me to go back to the light as it is to go to the dark. Like I can do that. Like fights, he's crying. He was like,
literally.
Yeah. That scene is why I didn't hate the actor. Like a lot of people hate the actor that played Kylo Ren.
Who's actually a good dude. That's a good dude.
Because he looks like a punk, unfortunately.
But he's a good dude. He's a former Marine. He's a good dude.
But like that scene, I didn't know that. He's a former Marine.
Wow.
He's very physically imposing, even though he looks like a punk. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that scene really made it for me because he was literally like, where he was opening it, like he didn't lie to his father at all. He was like, yo, I'm scared. I'm struggling. What he said? He said, I want to be free of this pain. He said, I want to be free of this pain. I know what I have to do. I don't know if I'm strong enough to do it.
All right.
And that could have easily been my sex after the bed.
I'm going to say that my first issue that I have is that I kind of felt like the First Order was they just didn't feel formidable. Like they didn't feel like,
I actually disagree. I disagree. I feel like they were far more efficient than the Empire in every conceivable way. I mean, their troopers are more effective. Their TIE fighters can go into hyperspace by themselves. I thought that was
technology. There's a reason for that. And then again, I can't use that reason because
he was gone. He was gone.
So yeah. But anyway, I didn't feel like they were formidable. I kind of felt like, I could have jumped, like me, myself, with no training, could jump on an X-Wing fighter and take out 3 squadrons of TIE fighters. I just kind of felt like, and I know earlier I said that, the space battles were dope, but It's kind of like they were like send all the squadrons to stop the TIE fighter, the X-wings.
I will
and
say
it's like,
at the very end they sent in like 9 X-wings. They didn't
Yeah.
have no cruisers. They didn't have any like capital ships. They did like 9 X-wings, and like 4 of them made it home.
They pretty much had their day. They spent the entire day over there shooting shit down.
Shooting stuff.
And you know, so I kind of feel like they weren't formidable. Yeah.
But like to play devil's advocate, that's what happens when there's power vacuums, bro. They got to consolidate the power. There's probably a lot of factions of what used to be Imperial stuff.
Again, I'm not trying to repeat what we saw in episode 4. I just kind of felt. I remember episode 4. I just felt like the Empire was you just shouldn't
It was true.
it.
No, it was true. Like when they're like that opening scene when the Star Destroyer comes over the Tantive 4. You're terrified. You're naturally like, yo.
Yeah.
And there really wasn't a scene at any point in the film where I was just like, yo, First Empire, First Order's here.
Yeah, like
I'm putting my gun down. Like at no point. Actually, you know what? You're right. That bothered me. The very beginning of the film. You see the First Order come, right? And it's like this old dude, and the old dude is there, and the village. It's like village. It's like a village. These niggas is in like wicker huts. It's not even like a city. It's a village, and they come in at First Order, and immediately the village opens fire on the First Order. That would have never happened in the Empire.
I mean, I could have sworn I saw them breastfeeding and was like, you know what? Let me just fight these guys. You know, like
it would have never happened. The Empire, they would have like the storm. They would have tried to hide first. They'd be like, yo, hide everything, and then maybe shooting if it came to that.
All the sellouts would have came.
But they opened up fire first. It wasn't even like the First Order opened fire first.
So
the ships, like the new, I was like, dang son, no respect. You guys got armor. These niggas is wearing like a robe. No fear. So that's true. Like everybody, like when Darth Vader walked into the room, everybody was terrified. Kylo Ren walked into the room, everybody was talking junk. So I do have to agree.
The second thing is, and you know, maybe I should just be patient, maybe for the next movie. But there's some plot holes that kind of leave me like, yeah, you know, like the R2D2 thing, like you know, like why did he just all of a sudden wake up? Why didn't he, you know, when everybody came in, like, okay, I have the map. Let's do this.
It would have been cool if there was like a signal, like he came in and then the map gives off like a ping or something.
Yeah.
Because I understand, like I had the same problem. I was like, yo, why can't you access R2D2 even when he's asleep? He's just a.
Can't you just hack into it?
He's a computer. And then I was like, you know what? Even when you say, if you want to get into a laptop's memory without turning on the laptop, you can from another computer. But power has to be given to the laptop, and R2D2 was in low power mode. So. I suppose I can, you know what I'm saying? They have AI in droids, so I can see how.
But I can take the memory chip.
That's true. That's true. Like
I can just hack into it.
I agree.
Or like they say in Star Wars, splice. You know. So
like, you know what? I have to agree. I felt the same. Like they were like there's a scene where C-3PO is like, it's unlikely that R2D2. I'm sorry. It's unlikely that R2D2 would have the backup data in his thing, and I was like, actually, that's pretty darn likely. He hung out with Luke longer than my biggest gripe was Mr. Snoke. One, because he's clearly not human.
Supreme Leader Snoke. Well, that's being racist. Now you're being racist.
Grand Wizard Snoke. Nah. He's clearly not human, right? So like, I'm totally unintimidated by anything that looks human but weaker than. Like, Sidious was human and he looked all decrepit. You're like, yo, what kind of evil is he into? Where he looks like a walking like fungus. But Snoke is like, you know what, bro? You just look kind of sick and old. Like, I feel like my little brother could push you over. Like I feel like Io could roll up. And
Io's a strong dude.
Yeah, but I feel like if Io like tackled Snoke, he'd be like, "Yo, chill, bro, chill." Like
the first sword, right?
Yeah.
And it goes back to what I was saying. Like it just didn't feel intimidating. And what I love about this movie is there's a lot of mystery, and which was cool about the first, you know, episode 4, New Hope. It was a lot of mystery, but like I kind of felt like revealing Snoke's. It's kind of early,
and not only revealing it, but he actually like him and what's his name? Him and Kylo Ren have like teacher-student conferences every 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's it's like,
and it was interesting.
Should I brush my teeth with Colgate or Aquafresh?
And like J.J. Abrams was like, he went on to say, he was like, yo, Kylo Ren is not fully formed. That's what that's exactly how he said it. He was like, Kylo Ren is not a Sith. He's of the Knights of Ren. But at no point did I ever feel like Kylo Ren brought anything to the table, because he was just getting punked out by everybody. Like even the other military dude, what was his name?
I can't remember his name.
There's a general guy. Yeah. This general guy was just straight dookie-ing on him in front of Snoke, and Snoke would just be like, okay, cool.
And that's what I mean about the whole thing about like, like with Darth Vader. We knew that Tarkin reeled him in, like, hey, overstepping your boundaries. But if you didn't do your job, you die. And here with Kylo Ren, it's kind of like you were incompetent. So okay, I'm gonna argue with you about it, but there's no consequences to your actions. So there wasn't no. I just didn't feel like I just didn't feel that when it came to the Empire. Like, I didn't feel like, okay, I have to get rid of the Empire, because if I don't get rid of the Empire, these are the things that happen, and with the First Order, I just didn't feel that way. And the same thing with Snoke, and the same thing with Kylo Ren and his relationship with the people his counterparts in the First Order. I just didn't feel like he had no power.
Yeah, he definitely, it was, I guess the best way I can describe it is because they definitely went on to say, like, several times in the promotional material, they're like, Kylo Ren is not a Sith. He's the head of the Knights of Ren. He's the head of the Knights of Ren. He's the head of the Knights of Ren. There are no Knights of Ren in this film. There's a flashback, and you see like a glimpse of like 4 dudes.
It's a Force vision. Yeah.
But like, we don't see any Knights of Ren. We don't really get a sense of his position in the military hierarchy. Darth Vader was considered second in command. Like, as soon as Darth Vader came out, the Emperor said,
there's no Superstar Destroyer.
He was like, he said, the Emperor said, as soon as he comes out, as soon as Darth Vader appeared, he said, if he speaks, it's my voice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whatever disagreements they had it in private. He would be like, yo, Darth Vader, don't do that. But to the world, he would be like, if Darth Vader talks, it is the Emperor. And this wasn't, there wasn't a moment like that.
And in the EU, people felt like Darth Vader manipulated Palpatine.
Exactly, yeah.
So
that's in the EU that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. People felt that Darth Vader was a Sith Lord and Palpatine was just still Senator Palpatine. Mm-hmm. So that was cool too. But like in this, it was like, he's the head of the Knights of Ren. So I guess militarily, he'd be like, I don't know, like a private contractor that worked with the military.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. Yeah,
but he wasn't even treated like that, because private contractors are treated like as equal. They get a rank. They get like, okay, he's a colonel, treat him like a colonel. Mm-hmm. 1 minute, Snoke is on the ground. I mean, 1 minute, Kylo Ren is on the ground with the troops. The next minute, he's like a head of interrogation. And then the next minute, he's getting like dressed down in front, and on the bridge of the Star Destroyer.
In front of everybody.
The general guy is like, bro, stop playing.
Yeah.
And then Kylo Ren is like, don't tell me what to do. And he's like, I feel you, but stop playing. And I'm like, yo, everybody sees this interaction.
No force choke.
Yeah, no force choke.
Yeah.
In fact,
he might chop up a chair.
Yeah, he definitely threw a few temper tantrums.
Yeah, so.
I mean, which would be terrifying to watch. But I'm like, yo, you're really supposed to be
but even the stormtroopers are like, let's let him get up.
So many different characters. Like, I'm not even trying to play. Like, I want to because Sidious was terrifying, and like just cause you know why Sidious was terrifying? Because the first time we saw Darth Vader, he strangled a nigga with his bare hands.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we saw him do, and he ordered the torture of Carrie Fisher. Like, she's gorgeous. He said torture her, kill the nigga with his bare hands, and then that man bows down to this old dude. Sidious is terrifying. There's nothing terrifying about Snoke. But what I really want is a moment, because like at the end, Kylo Ren is injured. He's like, bring him here to finish his training. So I really want a moment where it's like you see Kylo Ren and he's just like the scariest dude. Like, I want a moment where it's like my man, whatever the general guy whose name we can't remember. His name is like Sturgis. It's like what is his name? But I want a moment where he tries that again, tries to talk to him like that again, where he's like, yo, Kylo Ren, I see that you're back on your feet now. How did it feel getting beat by a stormtrooper and a girl? And he just cuts him in half. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want a moment like that where he's like, I'm not a punk no more, and just stops being a punk. So that's what I would really want to see.
My biggest issue is that I'm confused about the Republic and then the Resistance. I'm really confused about that. Like, I know that they're talking about new galaxies, and this is not the EU anymore, and then they destroyed the Republic. Like, it's not Coruscant.
Yeah, it wasn't Coruscant.
So it's like, who's the Republic and who's the Resistance?
See, I think
who's not the Empire? Who's like?
I don't know if I read this somewhere like official or was just scanning something. I think it's like a Cold War type situation. Like, it's almost like how the IRA is set up. The IRA has like a legitimate.
I mean, don't get me
governmental
wrong.
Thing now, and then there's like the terrorist side.
With the Rogue Squadron stuff that's coming up, I think they're gonna explain that. So maybe that's what it is. But I was really confused.
I agree though,
especially when the scroll messages came up, which was traditional, and it's just like, whoa, why would you do that? And it's like, you know, and it's like, we're not gonna call Princess Leia General, you know, we're gonna call Princess Leia General, and this is like,
well, I mean, she's
really
not,
confused.
she can't be a princess anymore. Her planet blew up, bro. Like,
but she was still a princess and all the way up to
I feel you, but like again, playing devil's advocate, are you a princess if the ruling body, the body that you're ruling over died, the royal family died?
Well,
like, are you a princess?
the Queen of England has no actual
authoritative
power.
England exists though. Like England,
yeah, but,
England is a place.
But what I'm saying is, she doesn't have any. She can't be like, you know what? I want to go to war. It's the Parliament that declares.
England is a place you can go, and Alderaan isn't.
But you see my point though, like, you know, motherfuckers is like, yeah, I'm the queen, but she really has no authoritative power.
But not only does Leia have no power, but she doesn't have anything. Like there isn't like I'm the queen of Naboo. It's been 40 years. There's people who don't know who Naboo is anymore. Like there's people out there who have like no idea.
All right. So
as far as other improvements,
and it's not to say that the movie's perfect. We're not saying that the movie's perfect.
No. It's just that there's so much that one, you're willing to forgive because of how good it is, and two, it really is so much mystery. It's hard to say, is this a plot hole or an eventual?
Because they're not just doing like
the actual 7,
because it's Star Wars, you know, Force Awakens is 7 and there's 8, but they're also gonna be doing like Rogue Squadron,
and Han Solo.
So
I think
it's
Boba
like
Fett's getting a movie.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of stuff they're actually filling in,
fleshing out. Yeah, so it's really difficult to say.
Shout out to the Mandalorians,
Always, Also, Maz had the Mandalorian skull.
Exactly.
Keep that
on the flag.
If you watch it again, when they go into Maz's diner, she had a Mandalorian skull. So know that. But reasons to be afraid of Kylo Ren. I want to actually see the Knights of Ren do stuff. That'd be nice. Also, I kind of want an explanation of how Luke Skywalker lost.
Or just gave up. Like it's kind of like he's like a deadbeat dad. He just like gave up.
He was like, man, my Sith order didn't work out. Well,
nobody knew who he was
for 40 years. So he was like, my Sith order failed. He's like, my Jedi order failed. Bye, guys. And it's just like, here's my droid though. Like, he's in screensaver mode though. Good luck getting anything out.
So we went over the good, the bad, and what we need to change. Anything else you need to change?
I want Luke Skywalker to look less rapey.
Yeah, he looked kind of like Chester the child molester. He sure did.
I definitely wouldn't leave any of my children
alone. He looked bad.
And again, they probably fixed that.
Later on.
But like Mark Hamill, come on, son. Like.
And now I did hear that. I know on Instagram somebody posted that he wasn't happy coming back. Like at first he was, but then he wasn't happy for several reasons. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I mean, they could just easily just.
I also heard he's actually like been working out a whole lot. I mean, he's been doing voice acting for a long time. So while he's been, successful and in the world of media, he really hasn't been like. It makes sense that he kind of got fat and old. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying, because Han Solo was significant. Like, I mean,
Harrison Ford looked bad.
Harrison Ford looked bad, but like he still is walking around. You know what I'm saying? He's
still busting shots.
He doesn't look like Chester the child molester. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like who else is like that? Like Clint Eastwood is old as a mug, but like I feel like I'm still a little bit intimidated physically by Clint Eastwood, and he's like the oldest guy on the planet.
My issue with Clint Eastwood is that in every movie that he's in, every time he shows up, he does a classic jazz bebop soundtrack. Everybody else gets corny country music. But he gets going back to Star Wars. I'm just saying.
I guess it was my fault. Like I brought Clint Eastwood.
So.
I don't really have. Like I said, it's just so new. It's just so difficult to say. This needs to be better.
There's a lot coming up. There's really a lot
coming. There's cartoons and TV shows and video games.
But again, if you have any ideas, if you don't like what we said, go ahead and put it down in the comments down below. This is once again, it's All Things Geekery with special, wonderful guest star,
Bboy Cabi. I don't have like a YouTube thing, so like if there's any bad comments, he's gonna read them. I'm not.
So but I mean, I feel like he's kind of like Daredevil showing up in Punisher. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's a treat.
I'd be the Punisher. He's Daredevil. I'm Punisher. That's Punisher showing up in Daredevil.
Frank Castle.
It's there because they come with the cartoon, with the show coming out.
But thanks for checking us out. And I know this is first one for 2016. I wanted to do it with a bang. But again, leave your comments. If you don't like what we said, if you want to do a fuck you, you can. It's all love. You know, we take criticism
I'm not
with
gonna
it.
care at all because I'm not even
But
gonna read it.
I do recommend reading Star Wars Shattered Empire because
I
it's
haven't,
like a,
and he's been telling me, and
it's
it's
like
really
a
good information.
prequel
Yeah.
to The Force Awakens, so check that out. And really, all the Marvel Comics Star Wars titles are actually pretty good. Anything else before we go?
Be good, be blessed, tip your waiter. I don't, but like you should.
It's good to know, right?
Whole different video. All things geekery. Star Wars is dope. Forever. This is our moment. This is our generation.
True indeed.
And even if you just don't like, if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's just a really good movie. Honestly, like it's like I said, good pacing, good script writing. The special effects are a good, excellent mix of CG and practical effects. Like it's just a good film. I'd suggest taking all your friends out to see it.
Once again, this is Dan Cherzomi, Bboy Cabi, All Things Geekery. Thank you for checking us out. Peace.
All right.